dropping back and picking.
Folsom Field here in Boulder. Texas getting the opening kick, and after a gain of 18 on 1st and 10 from Vince Young, they move the chains, and now a 3rd and 4. First third down of the ball game. They're going to call it a 3rd and short 5. Vince Young, who had a big day last week against Texas Tech, under pressure, throwing for his tight end David Thomas, incomplete, and it brings up 4th down. Alex Legon, the defensive end from Torrance, California, providing the pressure.
Yeah, Vince had an opportunity on that play. Obviously, they're moving them around a lot. They run the ball, then they do a play action. Then you get in a situation where it's 3rd and 4. You get him where he has some time, and then he tries to run out of the pocket, and it's going to hit David Thomas at the last second. He just couldn't get it there.
Richmond McGee on for his first punt of the afternoon. Stephon Robinson, the redshirt freshman from Denver, back at his own 11-yard line. Texas at 6-1, Colorado 4-3, but still in the hunt in the North Division of the Big 12. McGee's punt toward the near sideline. Robinson under pressure, no fair catch. He's going to be drilled. Forward progress has him up at the 14. Michael Griffin was all over it. Punt of 43 yards, and obviously no return. So the Buffs take over inside their own 15-yard line. Colorado at 1-3 in the Big 12, and it's Joel Klatt, the junior from Arvada, Colorado. On there, the numbers over 1,300 yards, but look at the touchdowns to interceptions. That's where he struggled this year. Only 5 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, but he had 2 of those touchdowns last week in the overtime loss to Texas A&M, and no interceptions in that game. They operate out of the eye. Bobby Purify, the veteran, back ahead for a couple. That's about it. Purify, the senior from Colorado Springs, and we check out the starting lineups, the backs and receivers for Colorado. Purify, the 5th-year senior, over 2,600 yards in his career, playing with a partially separated shoulder at 130 yards last week against A&M. Tyler Littlehales will figure into this offense along with Dusty Sprague, because Ron Monte, the senior wideout and one of the veterans for this offense, he may play. He is dressed, but he's got a shoulder injury, which he separated last week against A&M. 2nd and 9. Quick drop, quick throw. There's a completed pass. Blake Mackey, a big gain ahead to the 25. It'll be a first down after a gain of 12. The offensive line for Colorado, it's been solid. Quinn O'Neal playing with a pinched nerve that he suffered last week. Sam Wilder, a senior from Dallas, making his 31st straight start for Colorado, facing a defensive line for the Longhorns led by Roderick Wright, a Lombardi candidate to start the year, preseason All-American, but he has been slowed by a high ankle sprain. The coaches tell us he looked good this week in practice, the best that they've seen him throughout the year. 1st and 10 for Colorado, as they place it down at the 26. Purify popped in the backfield. He's going to lose it all the way back to the 20. Tim Crowder, the sophomore from Tyler, Texas, right there as soon as he got the football.
Yeah, Terry, you know, you talked about Bobby Purify. This is a guy who's been playing really, really tough. They call him a warrior. He's had a shoulder situation throughout most of the season.
It's been tough for him throughout the season. As you look at the linebackers, Derek Johnson may just be the best linebacker in the country, and a secondary led by Philip Giger, the senior from Shreveport. In his 2nd year starting at that position, he's been everywhere throughout the season for the Longhorns. 2nd and 14 as Joel Klatt goes back to the shotgun. Over the middle, complete, a big gain ahead across the 30 to the 32-yard line. Tyler Littlehales, told you about him, the sophomore from Boulder, Colorado, on the catch. 3rd member of our crews, Mark Morgan. We send it down to the field, and Mark Wright
told me that it's been the early 80s since the Colorado football team did not have individual last names on the back of their jerseys.
So a little unity they're going after today in Boulder at home. Klatt under pressure, throws right through the hands of Evan Judge, a little bit high, and a ball that Judge could have caught, but also a little bit behind him. Derek Johnson was all over Klatt.
Yeah, Derek Johnson got a good break in there on the good blitz in there on the delayed blitz. Klatt had an opportunity to throw the ball, and he probably should have been a completion.
John Tort on for his first punt of the game. Aaron Ross, the sophomore from Tyler, Texas, back at his own 26. Unique formation for Colorado, and we will see a number of those today, I would imagine. They used A lot of unique formations last week against Texas A&M. Ross, fair catch at the 21. So a punt of 46. No return. Mac Brown leading the way in his 7th year for Texas, number 10 in the latest BCS. No score in the opening moments here in Boulder between Texas and Colorado. Jamal, how do you see this one?
Terry, here's the deal. In order for Texas to win this football game, you got to let Vince Young be an athlete first. Let him run the ball, move him around in the pocket to throw. You got to keep feeding Cedric Benson the rock. The guy's averaging over 160 yards a game. Continue to do that. And then defensively, be prepared for anything Colorado's going to throw at you with the funny formations. And for Colorado, stay fresh and unconventional on offense. The front seven for this defense has to have the best game they've played all year. And then the health of Bobby Purify. That is going to be a key. How long is he going to be available today?
And maybe number one, Colorado has to slow the ground game of Texas, trying to do it here with Cedric Benson, who gets ahead across the 25 to the 26-yard line. Vince Young, the sophomore from Houston, much maligned and criticized throughout this year, no doubt about it. Texas fans are tough, but last week he had a career game. 4 touchdowns on the ground, 1 in the air. There are his numbers: 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions on the season. So, you know, we had the game against Missouri, and he got banged up in that game. Chance Mock came on, and they won the game. Fans leaving the stadium, we talked to them, said, Chance Mock's our quarterback. Hold on a minute. Vince Young comes back, has a great game last week. This time, though, is wrapped up for a loss of 1. The backs and receivers for Texas, you mentioned Cedric Benson, the nation's number 2 rusher, one of 5 in NCAA history to go over 1,000 yards for 4 straight years. David Thomas, a big play threat at the tight end spot, and they will use him often. Tony Jeffrey on the Swede getting the starts at the wideout position. Brings up 3rd and 7 for the Longhorns.
This is precisely what Mike Hankiewicz, defensive coordinator of Colorado, said. He wants to keep Texas in this situation and force Cedric Benson to throw.
Jeffrey and Carter to the near side. That's who Young is looking for. Right now it's picked off. Intercepted, maybe a touchdown to the end zone. Terrence Wheatley on the pick. 6 on the board. Wheatley, just a sophomore from Richardson, Texas. How big is that for a kid from Texas? And here's a guy with great speed. He's been banged up throughout the spring and now in the fall, and now just getting a chance to shine, and he's just done that for Gary Barnett's club.
Terry, I just said it a moment ago. Hankiewicz talked about it. He said we got to keep Texas in 3rd and long. Cedric Benson is a terrific athlete, but if you put him in those situations and you force him to have to make plays with his arm, you're going to have an opportunity for interceptions. You're going to have an opportunity for turnovers, and look what happens with Colorado.
Wheatley brings it back 37 yards, and they're on the board first, trying to pull off the upset against the Longhorns. They see Crosby on for the extra point. He doesn't miss many of those, so 7-0. Got him rocking here in Boulder. Young throws it right to Wheatley. Takes it back to the house, and the Buffs are up here at home. The Longhorns set to receive. Philip Giger and Terrell Brown back deep at their own goal line. Mason Crosby set to most likely send it to the back end of the end zone. We are over 5,000 feet at altitude here, and he's got a booming leg anyway. How about to the stands? Almost got it there. Well, Vince Young's going to bring this team back onto the field behind an offensive line that is very big and athletic. Mike Garcia getting a start for Will Allen today, though, who's out with a knee injury. Scott, Stunnard, Glenn, Garcia, and Blaylock, the offensive front against the defensive line for Colorado. Ligon, Manapuna, McChesney, and Gary. McChesney playing with a sprained knee that he suffered against A&M last week. Got the adrenaline going right now, though, and not even thinking about that knee. 1st and 10 from the 20. Here comes Young, going to give it out to Benson. Looks for room around the corner. And across the 25 up to the 27-yard line. Run out of bounds by Lorenzo Sims. So 8:45 left in the first quarter as Colorado tries to pull off the upset, and off to a great start here in Boulder. Terry Gannon along with Jamal Anderson and Mark Morgan down on the field. Texas number 10. down 7-0, Jamal, because of this pick by Wheatley.
Right. I like the idea of rolling Vince Young out on the sprint, giving him an option to run or pass, but Vince is just staring right at the guy, and Terrence Wheatley does a great job of stepping in front and taking it to the house.
First career interception for the sophomore. Not a bad way to break in. Cedric Benson, tough running, maybe for a couple to the 29. James Gary on the stop. Linebackers, Thaddeus Washington getting his start. Jordan Dyson, one of their best. In fact, he leads them in tackles as only a freshman. Brian Ewu on the outside linebacker spot. And then a young secondary. Sims emerging as a leader. Dominic Brooks is a hitter at the safety spot. Derek Burl, Tyrone Henderson also back there, but a short and young secondary. And playing, though, against an offense today that is not based on the pass. Trying to stop the run as they are doing here. Benson hit behind the line of scrimmage, fought his way to the 30 and looked to be shy of the first down, but the extra effort will make it close. We'll see. Dominique Brooks on the hit.
You get a look at Vince Young here, and he looks like he bumps into Will Matthews right there and kind of slows him down, getting the ball to Cedric Benson. And then Benson gets hit, but his forward progress, the surge and the strength of Cedric Benson to try to get the first down is just too great.
Brooks a hitter, though. The 6'1", 195 sophomore, and one of many on this Colorado team, and so many around the country, that hails from Texas. He's from Mesquite. Going to be short. So it brings up 4th and inches for Mack Brown, a decision. Vince Young going back onto the field here.
Yeah, they're going to go for it. I mean, when you got a quarterback who can run the ball like Vince Young and your tailback is Cedric Benson, and it's 4th and short, you get the option, and they did a great job with that against Texas Tech, so we might see it again here right now.
So you like this?
I do.
Young should have it across the 30 up over the pile.
Yeah, Terry, I'll run a sneak any day with a guy that's 6'5".
Yeah, 6'5", 225
yeah, take
at
the
least.
snap and just lean forward.
Texas offense averaging over 250 a game on the ground, and look what Colorado has given up. In fact, they've given up in 4 of the last 5 games over 200 yards on the ground. You're not going to get it done against the Longhorns that way. No,
it was interesting, and again, defensive coordinator Mike Hankwitz said, you know, we've given up some big plays early on, and we've had a lot of missed tackles, and what's going to be critical against this Texas offense is our run fits. Guys have to stay in their gap. Guys have to hold on and gang tackle to try to stop Vince Young and Cedric Benson.
Play fake to Benson. A lot of time for Young, and he's got Jeffrey. Big game. Knocked out of his hands, incomplete. Never had it. Lorenzo Sims on the coverage and the hit.
That's like the worst thing that could happen to a young quarterback who doesn't have a lot of experience, or I should say success throwing the football. He drops back, has plenty of time, throws the ball to Tony Jeffrey wide open, who turns his head before he catches the football.
You're absolutely right. For a young quarterback who just threw an interception that was brought back for a touchdown, he needed that and didn't get any help from Tony Jeffrey. So 2nd and 10 out of the gun is Young. Going to throw back across the field. Looking for room. Flag is down right at the line of scrimmage. A gain of maybe 2. That's it. A lot of ground covered for Jeffrey just to get a gain of 2, and this might be brought back anyway. Tom Walker, the referee in this Big 12 crew.
Yeah, Terry, Tony Jeffrey ran about 60 yards for a 2-yard gain, and there's flags all over the field.
Got the clip. Going to lose anyway, and he ran all over the field. See if you can. Yeah, there it is right there.
Casey Stutter catching the back of Jordan Dyson.
So they declined the penalty, and it brings up what is it? They got 8 to go. Yeah, gain of 2 on that. So got to get to the 41 for a first down. Mack Brown's squad struggling offensively here in the early going.
Again, this is right where Colorado wants Texas. 3rd and long situation, forcing Cedric Benson to have to throw the football.
Going to call it 9. Flags on the play. Quick out. It's complete. On the Swede. Big gain across midfield. But remember, a flag at the line of scrimmage. will sort that one out. Swede, the redshirt freshman from Washington, Texas, gets to the 48 of Colorado.
You talking about giving up big plays, Terry. This is the problem. He catches the ball. Lyman Swede catches the ball.
On the defense. Penalties decline. First down.
So against Colorado, first down for Texas. We go to New York and John, thank you, back here in Boulder. Gain of 21 as they move the change. There's Vince Young fighting his way down to the 42 of Colorado. Lorenzo Sims active early in this one. Mac Brown, you know, they're number 10 in the BCS. A lot of coaches don't want to talk about that with their players. Mac Brown takes a different approach. He talks about it every Sunday with his squad.
I feel like it's really important for me to sit down with them and show them who's ahead of us, show them the teams that are ahead of us and who they play, whether they play them at home or away, for them to see that there is hope for us in the BCS if we do our job. So now, after Sunday, keep your mouth shut, quit talking about it, quit looking at it. Texas Tech's gone, BCS is gone. It's all about Colorado, and let's get back to where we need to be.
I would appreciate that if I were a player, the honesty of my coach, because you know players are paying attention to that.
Yeah, well, the thing is, show it to the guys on Sunday.
6-4 in the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Justin Blaylock moved on that last play, by the way.
Yeah, everybody everywhere is going to talk about it. That's all the talk all week long. When Saturday is over, everybody's talking about the BCS standings and how do you get in the standings, who's playing who next week. And so address it with your team on Sunday and be done with it. So the guys aren't walking around Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday worrying about who Oklahoma's playing next week and who Oklahoma State and Texas A&M is playing.
And honestly, it does get confusing at times. So let the coaching staff figure it out and then talk about it as a squad. There goes Benson, hit right at the line. Bounces off, fighting his way inside the 45. Made something out of nothing. Should have been a loss of 6 or 7 yards. Wasn't wrapped up. Tyrone Henderson had him and he bounced right off of him.
Yeah, Terry, this has been the problem with this Colorado defense all year long. Not just giving up the big plays, but guys missing tackles. They got Cedric Benson in the backfield for a loss, breaks one tackle right there, gets a chance, goes upfield and turns what should have been a three-yard loss into a 3-yard gain.
I'm going to give Henderson the benefit of the doubt, though, a little bit. Benson's 6 feet, 225 pounds, and strong as maybe Ralphie that we saw before the game, leading the Bucs onto the field.
Then he should hold on.
Last week, 19 missed tackles against A&M. 3rd and 8. Young to Jeffrey. Big gain again. They'll move the chains. Cross the 35 to the 33. Jordan Dyson, the freshman from Hawaii, on the stop.
This time, Tony Jeffrey makes sure before he turns his head, he gets the ball, he catches the football, and then breaks upfield. Again, Cedric Benson in the shotgun, giving him plenty of time to see the football field. And as soon as the blitz comes, you got a streaking Tony Jeffrey on a slant, wide open.
And some more confidence for Vince Young after that early pick. First down at the 34. As they operate out of the eye, and Young wants to change the play at the line of scrimmage. Flag comes in. Took too much time. Called the timeout. Mac Brown did anyway. Fans here on the road in Boulder, and of course they bring their band along with them. Just a gorgeous day for college football or anything else here in Boulder. Temperatures in the high 50s, sunshine, not much wind at all as we check out our Chevy truck. Current drive, 10 plays, 4.5 minutes off the board for the Longhorns.
The type of stuff, Terry, that Texas needs to do more. Try to be more consistent, try to mix it up. And it's an interesting statistic. Of the 17 plays Texas has run so far, 14 have been from the shotgun formation. I mean, you're talking about a young quarterback who's struggling to throw the football. How do you keep him comfortable? Put him back in the shotgun, and we've seen it a lot with Texas today.
Gives him a better read, better feel, more relaxed back in the shotgun, and Joel Klatt feels the same way. They put him in the gun a lot last week against A&M. Jeffrey in motion, give it to Benson, fights away from one, struggles all the way down to the 27. Let's go back to John Tyne at the Big House. And it's 7-0 Colorado here, trying to pull off the upset in the early going against Texas. Will Matthews, the fullback, spinning, senior from Austin, getting inside the 25, close to another first down. He's got one. They'll move the chains.
And you know, something that we consistently see from the Colorado defense, although they've done a pretty decent job so far, is always the first person who comes to try to make the tackle misses. It just seems to be the thing. It happened on the play before with Cedric Benson. Brandon Dabdou missed the tackle, and then on that one, Jordan Dizon had a shot at Will Matthews, and he missed it.
See the average yards on first down when you're getting over 6 yards every first down. It's going to be a long day for Colorado. Young looks, had time initially. Flushed out. Under pressure, down he goes at the 29. Dyson, the freshman, hit him there. Ball was loose, but he was already down. Good coverage in the secondary for Colorado.
Yeah, excellent coverage. And then, you know, when Cedric Benson gets out of the pocket, it's a thing for being kind of young. Cedric Benson drops back here, and he's looking to his left, and then he looks to the right, and he has nobody there. Once he starts running out of the pocket, there's nobody on that side of the football field for him to throw the ball to. So either he throws it away because he's outside of the pocket, or he does just what happens there. He takes a sack. And you mentioned earlier Jordan Dizon, the true freshman. He's a true freshman, only the 6th to start in Colorado's history.
Closing in on freshman record for tackles. There's Vince Young's numbers today. 19 yards on the ground. Again, flushed out, throws, intercepted. Second pick of the day. Lorenzo Sims comes up with this one on an ill-advised throw from Vince Young. Just throw it away.
This play just doesn't make any sense to me. Again, Vince Young, they do the rollout scramble just like we did on the first interception. He's running out of the pocket. Once he gets in this situation, just throw the football away. If he's not going to make any yards, you run out of bounds, or you just get rid of the football. Instead, he kind of just lays it up there, and the receiver, Jeffrey, just gets pushed out of bounds, and Sims makes the interception.
So the long drive, and they come up empty. And that's one that you just shake your head a little bit at. No chance of completing that. Throw it away. Klatt under pressure. He's down at the 11. Derek Johnson, like a shot.
Terry, if there's one guy on the Texas football team that you have to try to contain and block, it's Derek Johnson. No one on the outside. He gets a free shot at Klatt from the outside, and he's going to make that play every time. I mean, if there's one person on Texas defense that everybody offensively for Colorado should know where he is, it is Derek Johnson.
Look at the numbers, 79 tackles, leading the team in all of those categories, but the most impressive to me, the 7 forced fumbles, and Klatt was fortunate to hang on to that ball. Klatt gives it off to his back. Purify, nowhere to run. Ahead to the 12, maybe the 13. That's it, though. Johnson again in on the stop along with Tim Crowder. This is why. He'll hit you.
Yeah, you just look at him, and this is an interesting thing. It's a receiver, it's a quarterback, it's a running back. It doesn't matter who it is. The guy flies all over the football field. Greg Robinson talked about it yesterday. He said, I've coached some great linebackers. This kid right here is probably the best I've ever coached.
Yeah, and he spent many years in the NFL, Greg Robinson has. 3rd and 18. Klatt to throw. Steps up. Dusty Sprague hit hard as he catches it at the 26. Got to get to the 30 at least for the first down.
I'll tell you what. Klatt got away with him right there because he threw that ball in there. It was a tight spiral, but Derek Johnson was standing right there outside of Dusty Sprague, and I thought for a second he was going to have an opportunity to die for it. You see him coming in there late, but he got that one in.
Sprague with a big week last week. 8 catches for 101 yards, but brings up 4th down. John Tort, the junior from Louisville, Colorado, on averaging over 46 yards per punt. A great kicking game, great special team for Colorado this year. There's Aaron Ross back at his own 33. Tort, the punter, Crosby, the place kicker. Very good for the Bucs this year. Ross back at his own 27, punt of 48 yards, no return. of the first quarter, and a good one for Colorado. Coming up with the 2 picks, including the 37-yard return. Terrence Wheatley taking it all the way. Folsom Field, more than 53,000 on hand here at the base of the Rocky Mountains. Just a gorgeous day. Colorado up 7-0 as we open up the second quarter. Terry Gannon, Jamal Anderson, and Mark Morgan with you. Vince Young on after a couple of interceptions. That's been the story so far in this one.
Yeah, Terry, they got to just wheel him back in. Slow down a little bit. Let's get back into some of the lead draws. Do some of the things you did last week against Texas Tech. Give this guy an opportunity to be athletic.
Second down. Young hit. There goes the football. Texas got it back, though. Young was stripped. Lyle Sinline able to pounce on it.
Again, this is not Texas strength. I mean, this is 1st and 10. Your running back is Cedric Benson. You try to run a play action pass here. Nobody on the outside. Vince gets about to get sacked and then loses the football. I mean, makes a great play there. Alex Ligon makes a great play of just reaching out and trying to strip the ball from him.
A loss of 12. And nowadays, defensively, teams consciously working on that a lot, stripping the football. 3rd and 22.
And the Colorado defense licking their chops. They got Vince Young and a 3rd and 22.
They spread the field. Young going to throw back, set up a screen to Benson. Nothing doing. The freshman was there again. Jordan Dyson from Kauai, Hawaii.
Terry, we're going to be calling this guy's name a lot today. They said the true freshman. He leads his football team in tackles. And Hankwitz said, you know, he's a young guy. He kind of flies all over the field, and he makes mistakes from times, but he's always around the football.
Wasn't fooled for a moment. Back at the 35. Awaiting the punt from Richmond McGee is Stephon Robinson. McGee at his own 1. Gets a good one off. High and deep from the 35. Robinson dances, looks for room. Not going to find any. They'll spot it down at the 37. Punt of 49 yards. 4-yard return. Joel Klatt trying to get things going offensively for the Buffs. Talks about the fact that Texas has lost to Oklahoma for 5 straight years now. But the fact is, against other teams in the regular season during that time, they're 30-1. That's an amazing stat. Colorado, though, beginning to believe here that they can win this game. The 9th play offensively for Colorado. That's it. Tyler Littlehales, the quick out, up to the 20 or the 47. That's his 2nd catch of the afternoon. Quickly, we go to New York and John.
Michigan and Michigan State exchanging touchdowns, and now it's State's turn. Drew Stanton, the quarterback, calls his own number, leaps in for the touchdown, 5 yards on the run, as the Spartans trying to upset Michigan, right now leading it 14-7. Terry.
Producer Jimmy Ressler, who lives in Ann Arbor, will be very upset if that continues. 2nd and 1 for the Buffs. Under center this time. Klatt gives it off to Purify, and there's the flag. Derek Johnson on the hit.
Terry, you made an interesting point before the update about how Colorado is starting to believe. Mac Brown mentioned it talking to us yesterday about how if his team is in a tough dogfight in the first quarter, that this Colorado football team is going to start to believe. And that's kind of the general consensus among Big 12 coaches, that if you can play these guys tough in the first quarter, even have a lead, then you have an opportunity to beat this team.
Spike Dykes used to talk about it. You know, you enter a game, if you're Gary Barnett and you're a 2-touchdown underdog, as his team is right now, you kind of feel your way through. You start with confidence and the adrenaline and the excitement. And you're
holding. Number 78 on the offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
By the end of the first quarter, though, if it's 14-0 on the scoreboard, I mean, reality sets in. Right now, Colorado really believing that they can win this game, and that's growing.
Yeah, and one of the keys to winning this football game for Colorado was the play of the defense. And really, Texas has not challenged them running the football. I mean, we see Cedric Benson dropping back, trying to roll out or throw the ball. We got, you know, they're in 3rd and longs most of the time, and then you got the 2 interceptions.
The offense has not spent much time on the field. Only the 10th play from scrimmage for Colorado. 2nd and 11. Klatt under center. Purify. Same play. Skips by 1. Fights his way to the 34, but not much going on. Michael Griffin, sophomore out of Austin, Texas, on the hit, along with Derek Johnson.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it, you know, about Purify being the warrior he is, a guy who put on 15 pounds. Well, he's playing with a bum shoulder. You see right there, escape from Derek Johnson, the standout linebacker. I'll tell you what, every time Bobby Purify touches the ball, and Greg Robinson said it yesterday, we know he's got a shoulder injury. We know that there's a situation, and we don't know how long he's going to be able to play, but every time he touches the ball, we're going to have guys swarming to him and trying to light that shoulder up all game long.
Fifth-year senior from Colorado Springs, number 5 on the all-time list of Colorado rushers. Taking a break right now. 3rd and 15. Klatt throws, got a man. Dusty Sprague with the catch at the 44. Shy of a first down, though. Had to get to the 48 to move the chains. Terrell Brown on the stop. Sprague, 8 catches over 100 yards last week.
You get a look at Dusty Sprague here. He just kind of shuts the route down. I mean, I know in the 3rd and 15 situation, I'm sure they probably called for a 12-yard curl. Well, you know, they completed the pass, but you got to get the other 3 yards for a first down.
It bugs you, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, if you're going to run these types of plays in those situations, the receiver has to run the necessary yards. So if he does catch the ball, it'll be a first down.
Torp on for another punt. Aaron Ross for the Longhorns. A booming punt inside the 10. Spins away, not from the second one, down at the 9. 48 yards on the punt for Torp. 2-yard return for Ross. And while we have this moment, going to give you our Aflac trivia question. Which Texas quarterback has the most career victories? Been some great ones throughout the years for the Longhorns, but which one has won the most games? Give me the answer a little bit later. So Texas takes over, but inside its own 10. The numbers are not good for Vince Young so far. Again, 4 of 8, 31 yards. He's got the 2 picks, though.
Right. Again, you see him in the shotgun, and probably going to be a run-pass option here for him.
Benson, the inside give, bouncing outside. Cedric Benson with room. Across the 20 to the 23. They'll move the chains. Gain of 14 on first down for Cedric Benson, the senior from Midland, Texas. 10:28 until halftime. And Colorado with the lead, 7-0 on the interception.
Physically on this Colorado defense.
Quick throw on 1st and 10. That's complete to Limas Swede, the redshirt freshman from Washington, Texas. And out to the 29.
Yeah, and you mentioned at the top of the telecast, Terry, if you have a defense in Colorado who 4 of the last 5 games has given up over 200 yards on the ground, and you have an offense that averages 250 yards, you would think that, you know, Texas would come in here and do the things that they did last week against Texas Tech. The lead option, giving the ball to Cedric Benson. He had 38 carries last week.
Yeah, a bit surprising what they've done early in this one. Keep it on the ground this time, though. Benson, a big hole on the right side. Out to the 46-yard line. And the 47, a gain of 18 for Cedric Benson.
Give a lot of credit to Mike Garcia and Justin Blaylock and Jason Glenn right there. You get a look at Cedric Benson right here. He's going to come right through this hole right there, and there's a big hole for him. And you see Colorado guys just diving and reaching, trying to hold on and gang tackle this guy who, if they let Cedric Benson get rolling, it's going to be a long, long game for this Colorado defense.
Yeah, we told you earlier that Will Allen, the junior from Houston, the right guard, out with a left knee injury. So Mike Garcia getting a start, creating a hole for Benson that time. Cedric slipping through the early tackle across midfield. Matt McChesney wrapped him up.
I tell you what, you want to give Cedric a little more motivation. You send somebody downstairs and whisper in his ear about what Adrian Peterson did today with Oklahoma State.
But 249 yards, I think he ended up.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, you know, 3 of the top 5 rushers in the nation are in the Big 12, and they're just fantastic running backs. And it's going to be a serious battle to the wire to see who's going to lead not only just the nation in rushing, but the Big 12.
I wish everyone could come up to the booth and watch the great backs, because you were more excited about Peterson today than I've seen you in a long time. Young, a big gain inside the 40 to the 36-yard line. So this Texas offense now starting to roll on the Colorado defense. Don't forget Monday night.
Curtis Martin at 31. This guy's the same age as me. He's playing unbelievable football right now for the Jets.
Well, you got banged up. The knee. Always the knee. Benson inside the 30, the power running game. Taking over for the Longhorns. Akarika Dawn, the outside linebacker from Sugar Land, Texas on the hit.
I like what Greg Davis is doing now. Throw him off balance a little bit. Now we're in the shotgun doing what Texas does best, running the football, giving Vince Young an option to either hand the ball off to Cedric Benson or keep it himself, and they're creating lanes here. And another reason might be, you know, Jordan Dizon, the standout true freshman linebacker, has been out of the game with a hand injury.
Yeah, he went out a couple of plays ago, and Benson now 68 yards in the game, but here's Young inside the 25. Vince Young stretching, and that's what he did last week against Texas Tech. He gained 158 yards, obviously, and we see a number of them in the Big 12. Quarterbacks who can run, and he's one of the better ones.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the guy's 6'5", 220 pounds. He rushes for almost 160 yards and has 4 touchdowns on the ground. I mean, those are just ridiculous statistics for a quarterback. And, you know, and we don't talk about it enough for the guys in the trench. Jonathan Scott, Casey Stutter, Jason Glenn, today Mike Garcia and Justin Blaylock, and David Thomas, they do a great job. Anytime you have a team that averages 250 yards rushing a game, you have an outstanding offensive line.
Good. 25 in the game today. Lamont Taylor on for Benson. Gets around the edge and down to the 16-yard line.
Terry, you know what we call that? Fresh legs.
The freshman from Temple, Texas, coming off the sideline in a big game.
Yeah, Ramon Taylor been sitting out, you know, sitting on the sideline. He comes on the game, and you get the lead option, something that they did so well last week against Texas Tech. Look at Vince Young has an option. He pitches it out to Ramon Taylor, who flies up the sideline. Sit him down for another quarter, bring him back in for a 20, 30-yard gain in another quarter.
Taylor, the state long jump champ in high school. Will Matthews straight ahead, the fullback inside the 10, down to the 8.
Interesting, because yesterday at the walkthrough, Will Matthews had a boot on his leg. He had a boot on his ankle, so he's been nursing an ankle sprain. And he was talking about it yesterday, saying, "Listen, I just want to keep the pressure off of it, so I'm strong for the game tomorrow." And obviously, you know, every time he's carried the football, you see the surge in his power, and it doesn't look like it's any effect on him.
Nope. Second leading ground attack in the nation, the Longhorns have, and over 100 yards already in this one. Much of them on this drive. Benson back in. Nowhere to go. Behind the line of scrimmage, Brandon Dabdu, the senior from Monterey, Louisiana, hit him.
No better way to stop a team that runs the ball so effectively but to get penetration defensively. And Hank Witt said it. We got to get in our lanes. We got to stick to run fits. You get a look at it right here. Dabdu comes in and just kind of gets off his block. And Cedric Benson has nowhere to run. He tries to jump back to get back into that hole, and there was nothing there.
The numbers haven't been good for Colorado stopping the run throughout the year. That's what Texas has done on this drive. Benson trying to do just that. Cedric powering down to the goal line. No signal from any of the officials, just shy. Dominique Brooks stopped the touchdown, but it is awfully close. This drive for the Longhorns, it's been all, or almost all at least, on the ground. Look at Benson. Vince Young and another running quarterback that Colorado has to face. They give up 139 yards on the ground to Reggie McNeil last week.
Yeah.
Third and goal, Young, touchdown, Longhorns. Impressive drive for Texas.
Well, I mean, you know, Terry, it's simple. Greg Davis, you just go back to what you do best. You run the football better than any team in the country. You just go back to your horses. You feed the rock to Cedric Benson. You give Vince Young an opportunity to have the run-pass option. And you know, you get the gaps and lanes and guys from Colorado who are missing tackles.
And Texas came out early from the shotgun, trying to throw the ball often. And it got them in trouble. Go back to the power game. Dusty Mangum on for the extra point, up and good. So we are tied 7-7. First half action from the Big 12 here in Boulder. Boulder, Colorado, and The drive just a moment ago by Texas, it was Longhorn football, Jamal.
Oh, no question about it. It's funny. I wish we could hear Greg Davis. It was probably like, okay, we're trying to be cute. Let's just go back to doing what we do best. And here's the deal, Terry. A 12-play drive. I think the second play was a pass, but of the 12 plays, 11 of them were runs for 91 yards, and they took off 5 minutes and 3 seconds.
Give it to Cedric Benson and let Young run it. That was the key.
I think somebody must have told Cedric what my man Adrian Peterson did today.
Well, Cedric's got 76 yards in the game already on 15 carries. Classic in Stillwater today. Oklahoma with the win over Oklahoma State. This one almost reaching the stands once again. They'll bring it out to the 20. Colorado taking over 5:32 until the half. Colorado takes over 1st and 10 from their own 20. Minus 15 yards rushing for the Buffs so far in this game. Only 1 first down. The defense getting it done and keeping them in this one here in the first half.
Yeah, I want to see some of this unconventional offense, Sean Watson. Could we give us something what you gave us last week against Texas A&M?
Sean Watson, the offensive coordinator, quick out, but nothing doing. Caught behind the line of scrimmage. Philip Giger was all over Lawrence Vickers. As to the Aflac trivia question a little bit earlier, which Texas quarterback has the most career victories, and it is?
I say...
You had to wait for the graphic. Bobby Lane.
Well, at first I thought it was just an old picture of Sims. No.
28-7, the record back in the 40s. A little bit before your time and mine. One of the great ones, though, in the history of Texas. Little Hales in motion on 2nd down. Quick out, no one there. Evan Judge was the only receiver in the area.
Yeah, it looked like Evan Judge was trying to run the cornerback off like they were going to be running a screen. It looked like he was expecting Tyler Littlehales to come back there and catch the ball. You look at Joe Klatt here, he's just looking to the outside like somebody was going to be there. It was going to be a quick hitch, and Evan Judge is running up the sideline.
It's a young receiving core for Colorado. Judge is a junior, but Sprague, a redshirt freshman. Mackey, a sophomore. As you look at Colorado still with 1 first down. And, of course, Ron Monte, the senior, is out with a shoulder injury today. Mike Duran on also at the wideout spot. This one incomplete. No chance. Dusty Sprague was out there, but great coverage from Michael Huff.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a guy that you don't necessarily want to throw around too much is Michael Huff. Much like Derek Johnson, he's all over the football field, and he's a guy who makes a lot of football plays. And you talked about it earlier, Terry, about the young receiving core.
To see the Capital One halftime show coming up in a few moments. Got the guys from the studio in New York, John, Craig, and Aaron, with the highlights and analysis from today's games.
Love those Capital One halftime shows. But the young receiving core, but all of these guys are big. I mean, Evan Judge, 6'2", 205. Dusty Sprague, 6'4". Tyler Littlehales, another guy that's 6'4". So when these guys develop, they're going to be good players.
Aaron Ross, after another great punt from Thorpe, he boomed another one, and not much room at all to return it. 54 yards on the punt, a 5-yard return. There were 4 teeth, I think, between all those cheerleaders. See the rush pass option for Texas, and all but one on that last drive, which ended with a Young touchdown on the ground. They run the reverse. Jeffrey looks for room, has a blocker out there. Didn't use him very well, though.
Oh, wow. That is, you know, if he uses Jonathan Scott, who's out there, and just if nothing else, just uses his body and goes outside of him, he's probably still running up the sideline.
Terrence Wheatley, who had the pick and the touchdown earlier in the game, on the stop that time. But no surprise what Texas wants to do the rest of this first half. They'd love to keep it on the ground and drive just like they did on the last one. Benson with 76 yards on the ground. Young with a touchdown. The 38th play from scrimmage for Texas. Colorado's only got 14, so time of possession clearly in the hands of the Longhorns as they keep it on the ground again. Vaka Manapuna from Hawaii, the junior, on the hit. Cedric Benson carrying the load.
We've probably seen this play a dozen times out of the shotgun formation. It's either Vince Young handing off to Cedric Benson or faking it to Cedric Benson and rolling out and trying to keep the ball on a quarterback keeper. But this is the same play that they've seen over and over. At some point in time, you think the Colorado defense will make adjustments where they can stop this play.
Can make all the adjustments you want. Still tough to stop a guy like Cedric Benson. They bring out the chains to measure. Benson with 4 straight years of over 1,000 yards rushing, 1 of 5 in NCAA history to do that, and they are just shy of that first down. Now tonight, ESPN.com. Oklahoma, the number 2 team in the BCS, barely squeaking by today.
You knew that game was going to be tough. I mean, you know, in Stillwater, and this is a team that always gives Stoops fits. You know, he comes into the game 2-2 against them. It was a tough game last year. They lost 2 years ago.
Yeah, they've ruined their season 2 of the last 3 years.
Right.
3rd and inches for the Longhorns. Long count. Young's going to keep it. Over the top, down before the football came out, should be a first down. But you never know where the spot may be. And they do get the first down, so they move the chains again. Just over 3 minutes until the break. Long time. Complete over the middle, inside the 40, down to the 37. That's the tight end, David Thomas. First catch of the afternoon for the junior.
Yeah, and the people of Texas love to talk about why can't we give David Thomas the ball more? Every time he catches the ball, he does things with the football, and they've been trying to do it, trying to move around in different formations and situations where they can get him the ball. But if you're not throwing the ball effectively, it doesn't matter who you have on the field. You look at Cedric Benson here, has plenty of time. You see David Thomas coming across the middle of the football field, and he's a big guy.
You got Thomas as a deep threat at the tight end spot. Bo Scaife comes off the bench in his 6th year. Young dancing over the middle. There's Benson hit from behind inside the 30, drill to the 28. Makamanapuna hit him hard.
Another thing we're seeing, Terry, is because Texas has been in the shotgun so much and they've run so much out of the shotgun, there's a hesitancy on the Colorado defensive side of the football to get any pressure on Vince Young. So he's having an opportunity just kind of to stand back there and pick and choose his way when he's going to throw the football.
See the numbers on Young, the 2 interceptions, but also keeping it on the ground, getting to the end zone. 4th straight completion a moment ago for Young. Texas power football down to the 25 goes Will Matthews, the fullback. Told you about the action tonight on ESPN, ESPN2. Longhorns trying to get something before the break. 1st and 10, plenty of time right through the hands of Benson.
Yeah, it's a shotgun. It's created a situation where Colorado, I mean, and you give credit to the offensive line of Texas, but it's created a situation for Colorado where they're not necessarily putting a lot of pressure on them. Hankowitz said yesterday we were going to try to do some zone blitzes, and we haven't seen a lot of it today.
An offensive line that is big, athletic, experienced, and has opened the way for Benson throughout this season. He's had over 100 yards every game at Oklahoma. There goes Young, a big hole to the outside. Can he get to the end zone? No, run out of bounds at the 8-yard line. Thought for a moment he had a chance. Didn't want the contact, went out of bounds, but a gain of 18 for the quarterback.
Again, in the shotgun situation, Vince Young, keeper all the way. He has a huge lane right there on the right side of the field and makes a great cut right there and gets a block, and he's breaking to the outside. And right here, he's kind of like, I'm not going to make it. Let me get out of bounds so I don't get hit.
Now, you can talk numbers all you want with Vince Young and the mistakes early in this one, and Texas fans get all over. He's 12-2 as a starter. He's won football game. Look at what they've done in the red zone this year. Out of the gun, inside give to Benson. Switch back to the 2.
Yeah, that play was designed to go on the right side of the football field, and that's just Cedric Benson's talent and vision. He cuts all the way back to the other side of the football field, and less one guy there, he almost makes a touchdown.
Colorado giving up 7 touchdowns, 7 field goals, and 24 defensive tries in the red zone. Benson with 85 yards in the game so far. Under a minute. Cedric, touchdown. That was easy. Never touched.
talking about a big hole, Terry. Casey Stutter, Jonathan Scott doing a great job. Again, they're in that shotgun formation. Vince Young just hands it off, and it seems like the Colorado defense, Greg Davis, great job with calling these plays. They're just confused. They don't know who's going to have the football. They're worried about both of these guys. Tremendous stretch running, and Cedric Benson has a huge lane on the left side of the ball.
Colorado defense just looking worn down right now. They've been on the field for most of this first half. Dusty Mangum on. And good. Benson to the end zone, 14-7. Backs to gain 1,000 yards or more in 4 straight years. Joel Klatt takes a knee, but he's going to have some penalty markers. So under a minute left until the break. Colorado just trying to get to the locker room. And whenever you do that at home, obviously the fans are going to boo.
Right. Well, they haven't been on the field. I mean, offensively, you talk about
on the defense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Now, we mentioned how their defense might be wearing down. Well, offensively, these guys just have not been on the football field. And so, they're taking a knee, try to get back and regroup, but they've got to get something going, just if nothing else, just to keep this defense off the field.
Hold up.
Half the team for Colorado halfway to the locker room. Look at the time of possession. Over 20 minutes. The Longhorns having it in the first half. And the Colorado defense looking like it on that last drive. Just worn down. Going to hand it off to Purify. He's got nothing at all. He loses 3, maybe 4. Larry Dibbles got there first, but he had help from his friends. Don't forget the Capital One halftime show coming up. John Craig and Aaron in the studio in New York as the final seconds of the first half. We count those down here in Boulder.
It seemed like somebody told Larry Dibbles what the play was. When one step to the right, he could have took the handoff and went into the end zone.
Yeah, Purify with unofficially minus 10 yards on the ground in the first half. No ground game at all for Colorado. And not much in the air. Purify bounces off a 1, but right at the line of scrimmage, he's hit again. Larry Dibbles, again the man who stopped him. Here come the boos from Colorado and the fans. So Texas up by a touchdown here at half. Had the early pick by Wheatley to get on the board first. He brought it back 37 yards to the house, but offensively the ground game taking over for the Longhorns. Down to Mark Morgan right now.
Coach, how were you able to turn things around offensively? Colorado's defense got the big turnover in the score, but you guys kind of owned the second half of the first half.
Well, Mark, we were moving the ball. We had some big plays offensively, but you can't have 2 turnovers and not respond and get 2 from them. So we settled back down. We had some big losses, but I think, again, we came into a hostile environment, a desperate team after last week, and they played really, really hard, so give them credit for that first quarter.
Finally, any adjustments your team has to make at halftime?
We've got to take care of the ball. We've got to try to get another one because they get the ball to start the second half and try to make them more one-dimensional because they've been a running team, but we've got to keep handing it to Cedric Benson.
Coach, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And Mark, that's what they did. Second part of that first half. Texas with 227 total yards in the first half, only 39 for Colorado. John Craig and Aaron.